The waitress dropped the check on the table, looked at the nearly empty wallet in Daniel Harper's hand, and suddenly stopped breathing. Daniel had just pulled out 3 crumpled dollar bills. But tucked behind them was a photograph. A little girl in a hospital bed. And standing beside her, wearing an old volunteer badge, was the same waitress. Daniel quickly shoved the picture back into his wallet. Too late. She had seen it. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. Daniel's date looked from the waitress to him. "What's going on?" Daniel stood so fast his chair scraped across the diner floor. For the first time that night, the man who had calmly accepted being called cheap, unsuccessful, and not ready for a serious relationship looked terrified. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Then he left $20 on the table. It was more money than his date thought he had, and he walked out into the cold Chicago night alone. Daniel was 39, a widowed father, and, according to almost every woman he'd dated in the past 3 years, broke. That was exactly how he wanted it. On dates, he wore the same faded brown jacket. He drove an old dented pickup truck. He suggested diners instead of expensive restaurants and never mentioned the small house he owned or the work he did after dropping his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, at school. He wasn't actually broke, but he wasn't rich either. Daniel ran a modest restoration business, repairing old furniture and damaged woodwork for homes and local businesses. Some months were excellent. Others were frighteningly slow. The money mattered, but it wasn't why he pretended to have less. After his wife, Anna, died 4 years earlier, Daniel discovered something uncomfortable about loneliness. Loneliness made people careless. It made you ignore warning signs just because someone was willing to sit across from you. So Daniel created a simple test. He never lied about being unemployed. He never claimed poverty. He just didn't correct assumptions. If someone saw his old truck and cheap jacket and decided they already knew his worth, Daniel let them. Lily hated it. "You're weird," she told him one Saturday morning while eating cereal. "Thank you." "No, Dad. Normal people want dates to like them." Daniel smiled. "Normal people have more interesting weekends." Lily rolled her eyes. But there was something Daniel never told her. Every time a date ended badly, he went home relieved. And every time he felt relieved, he felt guilty for still hoping someone would eventually stay. The woman from the diner was named Vanessa. She had spent 40 minutes talking about vacations, restaurants, and how exhausted she was with men who had no ambition. Daniel had listened politely. When the check arrived, he paid. Then she noticed his truck outside. "You actually drive that?" Daniel glanced through the window. "It starts most mornings." She laughed, but not warmly. Then she said something that stung more than he expected. "Honestly, Daniel, you're sweet. But I need someone who can build a future." Daniel looked at her. For one brief second, he almost told her about his workshop, about the contracts waiting on his desk, about the college fund he'd been saving for Lily since she was born. Instead, he simply nodded. "I hope you find him." That was when the waitress saw the photograph. Her name was Maya Collins. And after Daniel left, she couldn't stop thinking about it. She remembered the picture, not because Daniel was famous, not because he had money. She remembered because of the little girl. Years earlier, Maya had volunteered at St. Catherine's Children's Hospital while studying nursing. The girl in that photograph had been admitted after a serious car accident. Maya remembered her name, Lily Harper, and she remembered Lily's father. He had slept in a plastic chair beside his daughter's bed for weeks. But the Daniel Harper Maya remembered didn't match the quiet man who had just walked out of her diner pretending he could barely afford dinner. The next morning, Maya called the hospital. She wasn't asking for private information. She simply asked whether Daniel Harper's name sounded familiar to the old volunteer coordinator. There was a long silence. Then the woman said, "You mean the man who paid for the family wing renovation?" Maya froze. "What?" "He asked us not to put his name anywhere. He sold something from his workshop, apparently. Said the hospital had taken care of his daughter, and he wanted other parents to have a place to sleep." Maya sat down. Suddenly, the $20 on Vanessa's table made sense. Daniel wasn't pretending to be broke because he had something to hide. He was hiding something else. Kindness. 2 weeks later, Daniel walked into the same diner. Not for a date. Alone. Maya was waiting tables. She saw him immediately. Daniel saw her too and visibly considered turning around. "Coffee?" she asked. He sighed. "That depends." "On what? Are you going to interrogate me?" Maya set down a mug. "No." Daniel sat. For several minutes, neither mentioned the photograph. Then Maya said, Lily doing okay? Daniel's hand stopped around the coffee cup. She is. I remember her. His eyes lowered. She doesn't remember much from the hospital. I do. Daniel gave a small, tired smile. Most people remember the worst day of their lives more clearly than the person living it. Maya didn't answer. Daniel finally looked at her. Why did you ask about me? Because you ran away like I'd caught you committing a crime. That made him laugh. A real laugh. And for the first time, Maya saw how young he looked when he forgot to be careful. Then Daniel told her the truth. Not all of it. Just enough. He said that after Anna died, people either pitied him or admired him. The single dad. The hard-working widower. The man raising a daughter alone. I got tired of being someone's sad story, he said. Then I got tired of wondering whether someone liked me or the version of me they could brag about. So you test them? Daniel stared into his coffee. I guess I do. Maya nodded slowly. That's not the same as trusting people. The words hit harder than an insult. Because Daniel knew she was right. That night, Daniel went home and found Lily sitting on the stairs. You went to the diner. Word travels fast. I called. Daniel stopped. You called Maya? Lily nodded. I wanted to know if she was nice. Daniel stared at her. Lily. What? You investigate everyone. He tried not to smile. Then Lily became serious. Dad, Mom didn't choose you because of your truck. Daniel's expression changed. Lily swallowed. She chose you before you had anything. For a moment, Daniel couldn't speak. His wife had known him when he rented a basement apartment and repaired chairs in a borrowed garage. She had loved him before life became complicated. Maybe Daniel had spent 4 years trying to recreate a kind of certainty no test could ever guarantee. The next morning, he did something he'd never done before. He called Maya, and he asked her to dinner. No tests, he said. Maya was quiet. Then she answered, good. Their first real date wasn't expensive. It was at the diner after Maya's shift. Daniel arrived in the same old truck, the same faded jacket. And this time, he didn't pretend either one meant anything about him. Halfway through dinner, he handed Maya his wallet. She raised an eyebrow. What am I supposed to do with this? Look. Inside were receipts, family photos, a library card, and the old picture from the hospital. Maya looked at it again, then at him. Still no secret fortune? Daniel smiled. Still no. Good. Why? Maya placed the wallet back on the table. Because I wasn't waiting to find out what you were hiding. She paused. I was waiting to see whether you were willing to let someone see you. Daniel looked down. Outside, snow had begun falling softly over the streetlights. For years, he had believed love meant finding someone who could see past appearances. But sitting across from Maya, he finally understood something harder. Sometimes people can't see the real you because you've spent too long hiding behind the disguise you created to protect yourself. Daniel never stopped wearing his old jacket. He kept the truck until it finally died. And Lily still thought her father was weird. But Daniel stopped testing people. Because trust isn't built when someone passes every question you secretly place in their path. Trust begins when you finally risk giving someone the chance to know you, without deciding beforehand how they should prove they deserve it. And sometimes, the greatest thing a person can offer isn't proof of their worth. It's the courage to be seen.